This is the Amazon Shareholder Letter of 2005. This letter explains how Amazon balances data-driven decisions with judgment-based decisions when data is insufficient. Bezos illustrates how math guides operational choices like inventory and fulfillment, but long-term strategy often requires bold judgment that goes beyond short-term numbers.
To our shareholders, many of the important decisions we make at Amazon.com can be made with data. There is a right answer or a wrong answer, a better answer or a worse answer, and math tells us which is which. These are our favorite kinds of decisions. Opening a new fulfillment center is an example. We use history from our existing fulfillment network to estimate seasonal peaks and to model alternatives for new capacity. We look at anticipated product mix, including product dimensions and weight, to decide how much space we need and whether we need a facility for smaller sortable items or for larger items that usually ship alone. To shorten delivery times and reduce outbound transportation costs, we analyze prospective locations based on proximity to customers, transportation hubs, and existing facilities. Quantitative analysis improves the customer's experience and our cost structure.
Here, Bezos demonstrates how Amazon uses detailed historical data to optimize logistics. Every factor, from product size to delivery speed, is modeled mathematically. This is a clear example of math-based decisions, where data can reliably guide outcomes.
Similarly, most of our inventory purchase decisions can be numerically modeled and analyzed. We want products in stock and immediately available to customers, and we want minimal total inventory in order to keep associated holding costs, and thus prices, low. To achieve both, there is a right amount of inventory. We use historical purchase data to forecast customer demand for a product and expected variability in that demand. We use data on the historical performance of vendors to estimate replenishment times. We can determine where to stock the product within our fulfillment network based on inbound and outbound transportation costs, storage costs, and anticipated customer locations. With this approach, we keep over 1 million unique items under our own roof, immediately available for customers, while still turning inventory more than 14 times per year.
Inventory decisions are another math-driven example. Amazon balances availability with cost efficiency using predictive modeling, historical sales, and vendor performance. This demonstrates how quantitative methods scale across operations to improve both customer experience and financial efficiency.
The above decisions require us to make some assumptions and judgments, but in such decisions, judgment and opinion come into play only as junior partners. The heavy lifting is done by the math. As you would expect, however, not all of our important decisions can be made in this enviable, math-based way. Sometimes we have little or no historical data to guide us, and proactive experimentation is impossible, impractical, or tantamount to a decision to proceed. Though data, analysis, and math play a role, the prime ingredient in these decisions is judgment.
This paragraph introduces the contrast. Some strategic decisions lack sufficient data, so Amazon must rely primarily on judgment. This distinction is central to understanding the balance between operational efficiency and long-term innovation.
As our shareholders know, we have made a decision to continuously and significantly lower prices for customers year after year as our efficiency and scale make it possible. This is an example of a very important decision that cannot be made in a math-based way. In fact, when we lower prices, we go against the math that we can do, which always says that the smart move is to raise prices. We have significant data related to price elasticity. With fair accuracy, we can predict that a price reduction of a certain percentage will result in an increase in units sold of a certain percentage. With rare exceptions, the volume increase in the short term is never enough to pay for the price decrease. However, our quantitative understanding of elasticity is short-term. We can estimate what a price reduction will do this week and this quarter, but we cannot numerically estimate the effect that consistently lowering prices will have on our business over 5 years or 10 years or more. Our judgment is that relentlessly returning efficiency improvements and scale economies to customers in the form of lower prices creates a virtuous cycle that leads over the long term to a much larger dollar amount of free cash flow, and thereby to a much more valuable Amazon.com. We've made similar judgments around free Super Saver shipping and Amazon Prime, both of which are expensive in the short term and we believe important and valuable in the long term.
Here Bezos explains the principle of long-term judgment-based decisions. Short-term math may suggest raising prices, but the strategic choice to lower prices and invest in customer loyalty creates compounding benefits. This highlights the importance of foresight and willingness to trade immediate profit for long-term shareholder value.
As another example, in 2000 we invited third parties to compete directly against us on our prime retail real estate, our product detail pages. Launching a single detail page for both Amazon retail and third-party items seemed risky. Well-meaning people internally and externally worried it would cannibalize Amazon's retail business, and as is often the case with consumer-focused innovations, there was no way to prove in advance that it would work. Our buyers pointed out that inviting third parties onto Amazon.com would make inventory forecasting more difficult and that we could get stuck with excess inventory if we lost the detail page to one of our third-party sellers.
Bezos describes a bold strategic move that initially seemed risky: opening Amazon's platform to third-party sellers. It demonstrates the application of judgment in situations with uncertain outcomes, showing that innovation often requires embracing short-term risk for long-term gain.
However, our judgment was simple. If a third party could offer a better price or better availability on a particular item, then we wanted our customer to get easy access to that offer. Over time, third-party sales have become a successful and significant part of our business. Third-party units have grown from 6% of total units sold in 2000 to 28% in 2005, even as retail revenues have grown threefold. Math-based decisions command wide agreement, whereas judgment-based decisions are rightly debated and often controversial, at least until put into practice and demonstrated. Any institution unwilling to endure controversy must limit itself to decisions of the first type. In our view, doing so would not only limit controversy, it would also significantly limit innovation and long-term value creation. The foundation of our decision-making philosophy was laid out in our 1997 letter to shareholders, a copy of which is attached. We will continue to focus relentlessly on our customers. We will continue to make investment decisions in light of long-term market leadership considerations rather than short-term profitability considerations or short-term Wall Street reactions. We will continue to measure our programs and the effectiveness of our investments analytically, to jettison those that do not provide acceptable returns, and to step up our investment in those that work best. We will continue to learn from both our successes and our failures. We will make bold rather than timid investment decisions where we see a sufficient probability of gaining market leadership advantages. Some of these investments will pay off, others will not, and we will have learned another valuable lesson in either case. You can count on us to combine a strong quantitative and analytical culture with a willingness to make bold decisions. As we do so, we'll start with the customer and work backwards. In our judgment, that is the best way to create shareholder value. Jeffrey P. Bezos, founder and chief executive officer.
This letter illustrates Amazon's dual approach to decision-making, relying on data and math wherever possible, while applying thoughtful judgment when long-term strategy or innovation is required. By balancing operational efficiency with bold, customer-focused choices, Amazon creates sustainable growth and shareholder value, showing that disciplined analysis and strategic risk-taking together drive lasting success.